It's every senior's worst nightmare, feeling fine in the morning and collapsing before noon. According to the CDC, more than 800 Americans over 60 experience a stroke every single morning. And here's the part that shocks most patients I meet. Many of those attacks begin less than 2 hours after breakfast. I'm Dr. James, and you're watching Health 304. Today's video over 60. 5 breakfast foods that can trigger a stroke before noon. Most people believe a warm breakfast means comfort and energy. But Harvard research shows that just one wrong meal high in sugar or salt can thicken your blood, inflame your arteries, and raise your stroke risk by over 30% before lunchtime. If you've ever felt lightheaded, shaky, or flushed after eating in the morning, this message is for you. Because sometimes it's not your heart or your age, it's your breakfast. Before we start, take a second to subscribe. I post new doctor health guides every week to help you protect your brain and stay independent longer. Now, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? What's your age? And what's your biggest morning struggle? Is it high blood pressure, fatigue, or that sudden dizzy spell after breakfast? I read and reply to every comment personally. Let's uncover the 5 silent breakfast traps that can trigger a stroke. Starting with number 5. You may think pancakes are harmless, BARMM, fluffy, comforting. But for adults over 60, that sweet breakfast can quietly thicken the blood and stress the heart before the clock even hits 10 brights. 2 or 3 pancakes with syrup deliver about 50 to 60 grams of sugar, around 12 teaspoons in one sitting. The CDC warns that this amount can raise glucose by over 40% within 30 minutes. As insulin rushes in to balance sugar, blood becomes thicker and stickier, forcing the arteries to stretch like worn rubber bands. In older adults whose vessels are already stiff or inflamed, that spike can trigger a sharp rise in blood pressure. Harvard researchers call this the morning storm, a surge of glucose, insulin, and inflammation that peaks between 8 and 10 of Branks. It irritates the endothelium, the fragile lining inside your arteries, making small clots more likely to form. A 20120 NIH study found that seniors who ate high glycemic breakfasts were 40% more likely to experience morning hypertension or short ischemic episodes than those who ate balanced fiber-rich meals. Mr. Allen, a 68-year-old from North Carolina, thought his morning snack was harmless. One day, he felt elated after breakfast. His smartwatch showed a heart rate of 120 beats per minute. His glucose read 190 milligrams per deciliter, nearly double his usual level. After switching to oat pancakes topped with mashed berries, the dizziness vanished within a week. Here's what most people miss. Those dizzy, shaky moments after breakfast aren't just aging. They're warning signals. Tiny vascular stress events that repeat day after day, slowly damaging blood vessels in the brain and heart. Over months, these mini surges can harden arteries and set the stage for the larger stroke no one sees coming. If you love pancakes, you don't need to give them up. Just change the recipe. Use whole grain or oat flour and replace syrup with crushed blueberries or raspberries. These fruits add antioxidants and natural sweetness while slowing down sugar absorption. A teaspoon of olive oil can replace butter for moisture without the saturated fat. Start small. Swap the syrup twice a week. Within 2 weeks, your taste buds adjust. Fruit begins to taste sweeter naturally as insulin sensitivity improves. Many of my patients notice steadier energy and fewer sugar crashes within 7 days. If you take medication for diabetes or high blood pressure, never eat pancakes alone. Combine them with protein like eggs or Greek yogurt to steady your glucose response. Always check your morning blood sugar before adding any sweet topping. Sweet isn't the only danger on the breakfast table. The next food smells like comfort, but its salt and chemicals can strain your arteries even faster. Few smells feel more American than bacon sizzling in a pan. But for adults over 60, that smell of comfort hides one of the most dangerous breakfast traps. A perfect storm of salt, chemicals, and saturated fat that can push your arteries past their limit before noon. Just 2 slices of bacon can contain 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium, and most breakfast sausages pack even more. The CDC notes that seniors who regularly eat processed meats often exceed the daily sodium limit before 9 a.m. Sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, instantly increasing blood volume and pressure. In older adults with stiffer vessels, that sudden surge can be enough to trigger dizziness, facial flushing, or even a transient ischemic attack, what many call a mini-stroke. Harvard researchers followed over 43,000 people for 10 years and found that eating just 2 slices of bacon a day increased stroke risk by nearly 40%. That risk rises even higher when combined with smoking or high blood pressure. The nitrites and nitrates used to preserve bacon can convert into nitrosamines, compounds known to damage the endothelium and promote oxidative stress. Once that inner vessel lining is irritated, cholesterol and platelets stick like glue, setting the stage for blockage. Mr. Henry, a 71-year-old mechanic from Ohio, learned this the hard way. He loved his morning bacon and sausage platter. One day he stood up from the table and his vision blurred. His blood pressure read 180/90. His doctor urged him to quit processed meats. Within a month of switching to grilled chicken and boiled eggs, his pressure dropped 15 points and his morning headaches disappeared. The solution isn't to give up flavor, it's to give up chemicals. Choose turkey bacon labeled uncured or no added nitrites. Grill lean chicken or turkey sausage seasoned with black pepper and herbs instead of salt. These swaps deliver the same satisfaction without the vascular strain. Start small. Replace processed meat twice a week, then 3 times. After 2 weeks, most people notice better circulation and less bloating. Proof that the body recovers quickly once the salt load drops. Safety matters. Always read the label. Some low-fat sausages still hide more than 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. And if you're on blood pressure medication, limit total sodium to less than 500 milligrams a day. That's just about 2/3 of a teaspoon of salt. The next item on this list looks far more innocent, soft, white, and perfectly round, but it can spike your blood sugar as fast as candy and quietly choke blood flow to the brain. It looks harmless, a soft white bagel with a thick layer of cream cheese. But for people over 60, that innocent breakfast can send blood sugar soaring as fast as candy and quietly choke blood flow to the brain before lunchtime. A single plain bagel made with refined white flour has the same amount of starch as 5 to 6 slices of white bread. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reports that eating refined carbohydrates like these causes a rapid glucose spike followed by a sharp crash within 90 minutes. That roller coaster forces your arteries to expand and contract over and over, straining the vessel walls. When you spread on cream cheese, things get worse. Just 2 tablespoons add 6 grams of saturated fat, enough to raise LDL cholesterol and thicken the blood. Harvard nutrition experts found that seniors who consume high-refined carb and high-fat breakfasts have a 38% greater risk of morning ischemic episodes compared to those who eat whole grains and fruit. The problem isn't the bagel itself, it's what it's made of. Refined flour has had its fiber stripped away, so the sugar from starch enters your bloodstream almost instantly. Without fiber or protein to slow it down, your pancreas has to pump extra insulin, and your arteries pay the price. Try this instead. Choose a whole grain or multi-grain bagel that lists whole wheat as the first ingredient. Spread a thin layer of almond butter or low-fat cottage cheese instead of cream cheese. Add a few banana slices or crushed walnuts for extra potassium and omega-3 fats, both proven to support brain circulation. If you're used to white bagels, start alternating one day white, next day whole grain. Within 2 weeks, most people find they crave the nutty flavor of fiber-rich bread instead. A Johns Hopkins study showed that replacing refined flour with whole grain just 3 times a week can lower morning glucose by 20% and reduce triglycerides by nearly 15%. Safety reminder. Store-bought bagels are often oversized, equal to 2 servings. Eat half and save the rest for later. Pair your bagel with protein like scrambled egg whites or Greek yogurt to keep blood sugar steady. Before we move on, I'd love to know how you start your mornings. If you still enjoy white bread or bagels, press 1 in the comments. If you've already switched to whole grains, press 0. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 304 so you never miss the next doctor-backed guide. Soft white bread might seem safe, but as you've seen, it can silently stress your arteries. And speaking of eggs, they're not always the problem. It's the way they're cooked that can turn them into a real threat. Eggs have long been called the perfect protein, but the way you cook them can quietly turn them into a stroke trigger. For adults over 60, frying eggs in butter or reused oil adds a hidden layer of danger, one that builds up silently inside the arteries. When eggs hit a pan coated with butter or animal fat, the cholesterol in both the egg yolk and the oil becomes oxidized. That oxidation creates compounds called aldehydes, toxins that irritate the inner lining of your arteries, making it easier for clots to form. Reheating the same oil multiplies these toxic aldehydes up to 5 times. Over time, this process damages endothelial cells, which are responsible for keeping blood flowing smoothly. Harvard nutrition studies have shown that seniors who frequently eat fried foods have a 41% higher risk of vascular inflammation compared to those who choose boiled or steamed meals. The NIH also reported that consuming oxidized fats more than 3 times per week increases the risk of clot formation by 53%, particularly in people with existing heart conditions. Butter adds its own burden. Just 1 tablespoon carries 7 grams of saturated fat, nearly half of the recommended daily limit for older adults. Saturated fats raise LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that thickens blood and slows circulation to the brain. The American Heart Association has linked high saturated fat intake to morning blood pressure spikes and reduced oxygen delivery to vital organs. Many people mistake the energy rush after a fried breakfast for strength, but it's often the body struggling to digest heavy fats. That sluggish feeling in our later isn't normal aging. It's your circulatory system working overtime to push thickened blood through narrow arteries. If you love eggs, the good news is that they aren't the problem. It's the pawn. Boil or steam them instead, or cook gently in a non-stick pan with a teaspoon of olive oil. Olive oil contains monounsaturated fats that protect the heart and reduce oxidative stress. Pair your eggs with greens, tomatoes, or avocado slices for fiber and potassium. Both help counter sodium and support smooth blood flow. For those easing away from fried habits, start by replacing butter twice a week. Within 2 weeks, most people notice lighter digestion, fewer hot flashes, and steadier energy in the late morning. If your doctor allows, add a pinch of turmeric or black pepper to your eggs. Natural antioxidants that neutralize free radicals formed during cooking. And one simple rule: never reuse cooking oil, even if it looks clean. With every reheating, aldehyde levels rise, turning your kitchen staple into a vessel for inflammation. The final and most deceptive danger on our list isn't food at all. It's a drink millions trust to wake them up, but it may actually squeeze their arteries instead. Coffee is the morning ritual of millions, a symbol of alertness and control. But for adults over 60, that first cup on an empty stomach can quietly push the body toward a stroke before the first bite of food. Caffeine acts fast. Within 5 minutes, it constricts blood vessels and raises heart rate. The CDC reports that drinking coffee before eating increases systolic blood pressure by 10 to 15 points in older adults. For most, that rise fades quickly. But for those with fragile circulation or who take heart medication, it can reduce oxygen flow to the brain and trigger a transient ischemic attack, a minstroke that serves as a warning sign for a major one ahead. Harvard researchers found that seniors who consumed strong black coffee before breakfast were 29% more likely to experience short-term reductions in cerebral blood flow compared to those who ate first. When caffeine hits an empty system, it floods the bloodstream with adrenaline, tightening arteries and forcing the heart to pump harder. That rapid change increases clot risk in people with existing plaque buildup. Mr. Robert, a 70-year-old retired engineer from California, used to drink a large black coffee the moment he woke up. One morning, he felt a sharp headache and momentary vision loss. Brief but frightening. His smartwatch showed his heart rate jumping from 70 to 120 in less than 3 minutes. Tests later confirmed temporary constriction in his carotid arteries, a precursor condition linked to stroke. After switching to a small breakfast before coffee, the symptoms disappeared entirely. Adding sugar or flavored syrup makes things worse. A vanilla latte can pack 30 grams of sugar and heavy cream, doubling inflammation and spiking blood pressure. The NIH warns that repeated caffeine and sugar surges may double the risk of microvascular damage, the same kind of vessel injury seen in early-stage stroke patients. To protect yourself, start with hydration. A glass of warm water or electrolytes steadies pressure and supports kidney function. Then eat something small. Oatmeal, yogurt, even half a banana before your first sip. When caffeine enters alongside food, its absorption slows and the blood pressure surge drops by nearly half. If you can't give up coffee, keep it modest. 1/6 cup, not a 20 ounces mug. Studies show keeping caffeine under 100 milligrams per day lowers cardiovascular strain by 25% and reduces stroke risk significantly in adults over 65. Caffeine itself isn't the villain. Timing is drunk on an empty stomach. It can quietly squeeze arteries and set off the chain reaction leading to stroke. But paired with food and water, it becomes what it should be, a gentle boost, not a hidden danger. These 5 breakfast traps may look harmless, but together they can quietly decide how your heart, brain, and independence hold up after 60. The good news: each one can be reversed with simple swaps and your body starts healing the moment you change your morning routine. If today's video opened your eyes, tell me below. Which habit surprised you most and which one feels hardest to change? Share your progress or challenge in the comments and I'll personally read and reply to help you plan your safer version of breakfast in part 2. And before you go, make sure to subscribe.